How's everybody doing today? How's my brothers and sisters? It's May 30th, right at about 8 o'clock. Got a couple more minutes. Gonna kind of keep this relaxed. That's gonna be the new format. Welcome to Nowhere Near Death, brought to you by Soultrack. This is Ryan Graves. Coming at you from Smithville Lake in Kansas City, well outside of Kansas City, Missouri. Just wanted to drop in and see how everybody's doing. I'm excited. I got a lot going on, and I'm feeling it. So here I am. There you are. And pardon me if this is messy, but really, it's fine. I tried scripting. I tried outlining. Had a couple of episodes where I did interviews that went pretty well. I'd like to continue to do that as well, but it is time to jump back into everything. Just to kind of give you a little bit of an update, and the format here as well, or on the format, I should say. I'm not going to shy away from politics, but I'm also not going to make it my focus. I saw what happened with Trump today. I'm not going to ignore things that happen and act like they didn't, because we all live in this world too. And not really sure what to think about that. I try as hard as I can to make sure that sorry, I had some music on a different deal in my headphones there. Like I said, this might be messy. You can keep listening if you'd like to. That'd be great. I'll keep trying to get better. So anyhow, convicted on all 34 counts. I don't know. This world is just, and I'm not really a partisan person, but they're kind of forcing everybody into looking at reality. And for whatever you think about that, I've noticed more and more people are standing up and declaring their faith. Obviously, the Harrison Butker story, but that wasn't even meant to be some sort of a big public political statement or religious statement. He was speaking to a Nazarene school, a small one at that, Catholic college, and made no sense to me. Why on earth he got so much grief for that? And really props to Andy Reid and some of the other players and some of the people that stood up. And I believe Andy Reid said something to the effect of, if he goes, I go, type of a deal, which good for him. Not only it's your choice, but not only that, you really have to look at it and go, do you want that taken away from you? He was speaking at if you don't, he was speaking at a Catholic college. Anyway, like I said, politics is not going to be my focus, but this is, I think we can all agree, this is pretty strange. These are some pretty strange times we're in. So, but just wanted to kind of start off with a little bit of a backstory on myself. I'm not even sure what I've exactly laid down in the previous podcasts. I've been sick off and on. Basically drank myself to death over about 35 years. I died twice during surgeries, bled out with end-stage liver disease, got chronic pancreatitis, acute pancreatitis, which means, well, for all intents and purposes, for me, means it hurts worse. During the first 7 or 8 months, and I will get into a lot more things in more detail, but for the time being, I'm just going to, like I said, I'm going to keep it casual today. for the first 6 or 7 months, I laid there in a hospital bed. I mean, they gave me 3 months to live out of the gate. So it wasn't good. And I'm not proud of it. But what happened was something amazing. Now, let me preface this by saying that I thought I was a Christian. I thought I knew a thing or two about life. I thought I was self-aware. I thought I knew these things, but it turns out I didn't really know much of anything until this all happened. So for about the first 6 or 7 months, I would have pretty big gaps in my memory. Some of that due to the liver disease, some of it just due to being so sick and on so much medication. I had no concept of time anymore. But I knew my faith was growing, and I knew my knowledge was growing, and I knew my understanding was growing, but I wasn't doing anything to move it along. So I say this to say that, it seems to me a little bit that possibly it was on purpose, so that I could give up everything. And again, I am just an absolutely gigantic, bloated version of myself with things to say. Sorry, that was probably sounded gross in light of what we're talking about, but just want to say that, I'm so grateful and so humbled, and my faith is so strong. And I hope yours is too. And if I can do anything to help that, if I can do anything to help change that through one of the services that SoulTrek is either offering or is going to offer, then please, feel free to look me up at www.thesoultrek.com. I'll be posting video blogs. I'll be posting the podcast. I will be posting my YouTube channel stuff, regular blog. Excuse me. And I'll be doing some public speaking. I'm working on a book, and I am taking off. I'm pulling the training wheels off in July. No matter what happens, I am going to go out, grow closer to him, and I'm going to go talk to some people. So to go back to what happened, like I said, for about 6 or 7 months, I had laid there, and I was being transformed. I was being born again, almost in slow motion, with a very big exclamation point on the end of it. So going through all this, I knew that something was happening. A friend of mine had gotten me a Bible. I had barely picked it up. Again, like I said, I thought I was a Christian, but I didn't know anything. So I started to read a little bit here and there, and started to read Job. That's what everybody wanted me to read because of what I was going through and the length of time I was going through it. But to be honest with you, I was never really in bad spirits or anything else. I just wanted up. I wanted to get up, and I wanted to move, and I wanted to do the things that I used to do. And I couldn't, that's just not my style to sit still. So I kind of made an attempt. Well, when I first got up, I became an ordained minister. I found, yes, it was a website, but it's not as silly as some of the ones that you see on TV or movies sound. I actually had to go to a class, and I had to take a continuing education class as well. And I immediately started into Christian counseling and coaching. And I got my Christian life coach, Christian mental health coach for adults, my youth mental health coach, and my addiction and recovery. Like I could have taught that class. But so I gathered all these things, all these pieces of paper, all of this knowledge. And I read the Bible front to back, just cover to cover, and it was fascinating. And I didn't know it. And at the time, I was going to, and I will go back before I leave, but at the time, I was going to Vineyard Church in Smithville. I had gotten baptized actually at Journey Church with a couple of dear friends of mine go there, and I just wasn't sure where to go. I was totally clueless and a brand new baby when all this happened, but down 80 pounds, looking like a skeleton, like a yellow version of myself, and just being told over and over and over, you're not going to make it. You're going to die. It's just a matter of when. And the matter of when we all face, but they were telling me 3 months, 5 months, 6 months. Now you have this deadly bacterial virus. Could be sooner. I remember the nurse even, and again, like I said, I might jump around here, but I'll tighten it up. But I wanted you guys to be able to get to know me a little bit. So I remember this nurse was telling me that I had this bacterial infection, and I knew that I didn't feel good in a way that I wasn't used to, and this was probably 7 or 8 months into it. And she said, "I don't want to tell you what it is." And I said, "Trust me, I can handle it." And out of the gate, I probably should have put some emphasis on this. When they told me I had 3 months to live, I didn't think they were wrong. I wasn't scared at all, but I knew they were wrong. There was no doubt whatsoever in my mind that they had gotten this wrong, or that he just was not going to let it happen. So I go through all this. There's ups, there's downs. There's having to get my abdomen drained all the time. There's just, I mean, I'm not a person that feels sorry for myself. I'm just really not. And thank God that I came through this with, excuse me again, a decent attitude, and I never really got down. I more looked at it from the standpoint of, you probably shouldn't tell people that are not in my spot continuously that they're going to die, because it's probably going to have some sort of a detrimental effect for sure. You're going to weaken their will. They're going to start to believe you. Well, I'm here to tell you that is not the be all end all. And if you're listening to this, you probably already know that. But so this nurse had me look it up, and I literally got my laptop out. I'm sitting in the hospital bed. I look it up, and it's like, okay, well, the older you get, I'll be 50 this year. The older you get, the more dangerous it is, and it could come back. I only say this because I don't even think about it now. I only say this because I thought it was so funny. And she looked at me and she said, "Are you going to react? Do you have anything to say about, are you okay?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'm fine." I said, "Do you know how many times they've told me I was going to die? Have you seen my chart?" And they had taken me in their defense, they had taken me to a different hospital. But anyway, I'm not really digressing. I know some of this is coming a little sideways, but so I was going through all this and starting to get to the point where I thought, what's the culmination? Where's this going? There's no way that I'm still here through all of this. And, and I'm just destined to lay here. I'm just destined to sit here and die. There's no way. And again, not scared of death whatsoever. Never have been. Never scared of much of anything. Sharks, a little bit. That's just because I can't see him coming. So I get out, everything's a little jumbled, but I was, and I mean, when I say bad shape, I had to plan trips across the room. Okay, pick that up, grab that medication when I was by myself. I mean, it was an ordeal. Use the restroom, get all of that done, and then, oh, Lord forbid if I forgot anything. But anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm really thirsty. And I shouldn't be, I should be fine. I should actually be kind of full because I had a protein fruit smoothie shake deal, and at the time I couldn't really eat very much. I thought I could, felt like I could, but couldn't. So I get up and I'm like, well, I'm kind of tired, and I don't know, something's wrong again. So I go into the bathroom and start getting sick, which was nothing new. And sorry to get a little graphic here, but I started getting sick, and it was all blood, just gallons, no exaggeration, just gallons. So I somehow have the wherewithal the first time to get a ride, and I wait. I pack a backpack, and mind you, I've lost several units of blood, and they take me in, and I'm still getting sick. And one of my sisters was there, and she's just, I mean, everybody's just beside themselves, and I'm thinking, I don't understand what the big deal is. That's the honest to God truth. So I go in, and this time is a little bit more uneventful, but I'm really tired. And they go ahead and they do surgery, and they tried to use bands. Well, they sent me home because they were afraid to do surgery on my liver because of my pancreas, because my gallbladder was in on the whole party, and things like that. They were just deathly afraid to do anything with me because they were afraid that, I wouldn't make it through. So they do things to kind of patch it up, and they're thinking, so what are we going to do? What are we going to do with him? I already had at this point in time, I already had a couple of bands in my esophagus, but that was it. Now I have a shunt in my pancreas, a stent in my pancreas, a stent in my main bile duct. I've got bands in my esophagus, and I've got tips in my liver, which tips redirect your blood. So anyhow, so we go through that whole thing. They send me home. Well, I'm sitting there again, and same thing. Only this time it's indescribable. And again, somehow but this time I knew I couldn't wait on a ride. I don't know how I knew that. I don't know how I stayed awake. I just remember holding on to the door frame of the bathroom, and my face was, it was a nightmare. It was something out of a Rob Zombie movie. And I got through the door, and I called 911. I told them what was going on, and I told them, So anyway, I got the ambulance coming, and I think I called my mom, made one or two other phone calls, and I said, I want to pack my stuff up. And they were like, are you okay? And I said, well, as much as I can be. And I'd been to the hospital 50 times, so it wasn't anything new. So, anyways, um, so they get me in there, and I mean, this time it's like my body is just trying to give up, literally trying to cough it up. And I mean, now it's go time. They've got to knock me out. They throw me in ICU, put me on a blood transfusion, and they're shocked that I'm even standing up enough to walk in there to do anything. And I remember my body had started to go into almost, I would assume, what death throes feel like, but complete and just total shock. Well, my brain didn't feel the same way. I didn't think, I knew I was going to come out of it. My body did not. So I remember grabbing the transplant doctor's shirt and just looking at her and saying, "You've got to do something. I am freaking out. Like, this is just insanity." So I woke up a few days later and I was just kind of, okay, things are different. I mean, they're not just a little bit different, they're wildly different. I'd gone on a little trip, and I hear people talk about near death or death experiences, and I often wonder how they come up with such descriptive ways to describe, to give an account of it, because I don't really have words for all of it. And even if I did, there'd be no way to really portray them, to really get them across. So let's just say this. I was spoken to and I was asked if I wanted to come back. And you can see, anyway, I was asked if I wanted to come back, and I said yes, because I'm blown away. And why? And I said, well, they have to know. Somebody's got to step in, and not just me. I don't think I'm the savior. I don't think I'm the be all end all. I don't think I'm going to be the pastor of all pastors, the minister of all ministers, or anything like that. But if I can help 10 people throughout the rest of my life go to Christ, then that's an unimaginably successful existence. So there was no doubt. I went and got baptized almost immediately afterwards. I guess I should say I came out of it. I'm not podcasting from the other side. But and I'll get into not really war stories, because I don't think that helps anybody, but just what it took to get here in a different show. But I just wanted to say hi, and that was the beginning. That's what kicked it off. And like I said, I read the Bible cover to cover. I was ordained. I went and got baptized first, because I didn't think it was right to do the ordination if I hadn't been baptized. And it was funny, the baptism's actually on my website, and yes, my hair is blonde in a lot of pictures. That's because when you have liver disease, your hair, not that I owe anybody an explanation, but there's been a couple people say something, and really I've gotten some grief over this, and if people knew how incredibly little that it mattered, then I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what they would do? Maybe they would stop. Maybe they'd try to ramp it up. But either way, it doesn't make any difference. But so I went there, and I had written up, which astonishingly, I looked back at my testimony later on, and I was like, man, I couldn't even even with spell check, writing in Google Docs, I couldn't spell. Kudos to Ryan at Journey Church International and Lee Summit for not tripping up too much when he read my testimony, because it was a little bit rough to put together if you were just reading it from the outside. And I didn't know him all that well, but very close to the buddy of mine that goes there, and his wife and kids. So anyways, don't want to make this too boring either. So I don't know. That was kind of a magical day. That was a good day. And I felt it, but I felt like it was more of a formality almost, being baptized in water, because I had already been baptized in the Holy Spirit. I had been born again. Things didn't look the same. I didn't act the same. I couldn't watch the same things. Things meant different when it's you hear that it's a supernatural transition. Supernatural transition. It 100% is. You are not the same person. And I'm not the same person because I went through a traumatic time. I had my last surgery last week. I don't even it's fine. Whenever they tell me, they're like, "We're going to go back in and do this." I just always look to him and I think he'll let me know. Well, I'm putting this up tonight, and like I said, hopefully I'll get better, and hopefully, we'll get some people that tune in that possibly want to ask some questions. But um, I just want to say hi, and that I'm happy to be here, and I hope that you'll at least get some insight, some entertainment, some knowledge, some peace, some understanding from what I say. Um, and I hope that you can use me. And I'm excited to see what God has in store and through you as well, and definitely in and through me. It's not because I'm more important, but it's just because I feel like I've been put in a position to help, and I feel very honored. I have no idea what I was thinking, but I taught a Bible study class out of the gate, and I just remember thinking, I used to do stand up years ago, and it's nerve wracking. I had friends and family that were basically were in bands and things like that, and they said that no, there's like no way that I would get up and do that. But you know, I just thought, I don't know. When I taught the Bible study class, I thought this is information that what I'm teaching, this means something. This makes me nervous because this needs to be handled correctly. And thank goodness it was a series we did called Kings and or Fields and Thrones, where taught out of the book of Samuel with David and Saul. And but yeah, it's been a wild and crazy ride. I just want everybody to remember that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. I think that's a misconception that it's coming. No, we're living in it. What you do matters. Your salvation matters. And you matter. So now what I'm getting ready to do in Matthew, Jesus says to the disciples, the apostles, before he sends them out two by two, and they're wondering where they're going to get any food, where they're going to get clothes, because he says, don't bring a change of clothes, don't bring any food, don't bring, all of these things. If you know the Bible, you know what I'm talking about. And he looks at him, he says, give without paying. Or I'm sorry, he says, receive without paying, and now give without paying. And that's what I'm here to do. And sometimes it is easier to hear hard truths from a stranger than from a person you know well. So, hey, I want to thank everybody. Got about 30 minutes done tonight, so feel pretty good about that. I'll go back and listen to it again and just kind of see if I can gather any pointers. If you have anything that you want to say or anything that you're interested in hearing about again, www.thesoultrek.com. You can contact me through there or Ryan@thesoultrek.com. Either one works. So, hey, everybody have a blessed day, and I can't wait to get back here to talk to you. Thanks, guys.